Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the Football Terrace. The Thiago Saga begins. These are the words of world-renowned expert Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea, of course, completed, finalized, and got over the line in its entirety. The Kai Havertz deal, video release, interview release, everything else yesterday. And that prompted an interesting tweet from Fabrizio that we all know and trust. His words were also the Thiago Saga starts now. We all know that Man United have been looking. We all know that Man United are trying to get involved in this Thiago deal. We know that Liverpool are leading the race. Somebody responded saying to Man United with a question mark. Fabrizio's response was no, Chelsea. Chelsea, according to Fabrizio Romano, are going to enter the race to sign Thiago. Could they take away 3 of Liverpool's targets in the space of one summer? Is that possible? Is that plausible? Liverpool fans, are you fearful right now? You've just seen Jamal Lewis. He's on his way to Newcastle for 13.5 million, meaning you wouldn't pay this nonsense of 20 million. This is Liverpool media spin. This is Tory FC. This is Spin FC. Chelsea Football Club are looking to come in now and take your next big target this summer. Can Liverpool allow this to happen? I don't see it myself. They're too big a club. You're too powerful a club to actually let that go out there and happen. But I want to know what you're thinking. Call via the Skype line now. It's open. Just search Football Terrace. You'll see our logo. Get yourselves involved. Super chat here from Harry. Says, Chelsea fan would love if Man United got Thiago over Liverpool. Liverpool are in the mud. Listen, Liverpool fans are going to be absolutely cacking it if this happens. But what I want from you right now is to smash that like button, please. Really important to us that you hit the like button this morning, that you share this stream on your social media platforms. We're going to start taking some calls now. The first one we have up on the air is Matt, who we want to get on. Matt, we know you're a Chelsea fan. What do you make of this Fabrizio news that you might now be entering the race for Thiago?
I do, Terry. You all right?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, good, mate. I am gassed. If that is going to be the case, I am gassed. And to be quite honest with you, that just shows it's just a confirmation, really, of just how good Chelsea are getting their business done. And it just shows as well that this is probably going to be the best transfer window for a club ever, if that's going to be the case.
I think, you know what I find interesting? It depends if it comes off. So it has to, in terms of, you have to perform for it to be considered the best. That has to happen, in my opinion. However, in terms of level of playing out, level of player getting over the line, in terms of everything else that surrounds, the window in itself, I've never seen one like it. I cannot remember a window where a team signed such quality mixed with youth, spent so much money, and absolutely blown everybody else away in the process. When what Chelsea are doing, I fully expected to see from Man City. This is how I expected Man City to be spending this summer. I'm surprised that they haven't done that as of yet. Liverpool are still the favourites. Are you confident that you can? How confident are you personally that you can take Thiago away from Liverpool?
60%, I'd say. It all depends on if he prefers the Liverpool project, but it all depends if FSG can come up with the goods, man. I mean, they've flaked on it the first time and they're haggling down another few million. Chelsea have obviously shown that they can do the business. Marina Granovskaya can do it. So pray for them, man, if they don't get it. And it just goes to show you that we can do things that they can't. So who knows?
Do you know what is interesting about the whole thing? In my opinion, is how when everybody else started getting linked with Timo Werner, we were told it was to sort of hurry Liverpool along. Liverpool are now trying to spin it that they weren't ever really interested in Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis was a ploy, a pawn to make the signing of the lad. I forget the name of the left back they signed, but almost like a pawn in making that deal cheaper. And now you have the situation with Thiago. Liverpool fans, I get Liverpool. One thing I respect about Liverpool fans is they all stick together. They all come together to defend their football club, and I respect that. I do respect it. However, and I mean this with all due respect, like from my point of view, hang on.
I mean, let's hope we can get a decent goalkeeper now. I mean, we've got Havertz through the door, which I'm gassed about. We just need to get a decent goalkeeper through the door. And to be honest, if we get Thiago instead of Declan Rice at 80 million, we can all get a decent goalkeeper. So
yeah,
there's chance.
Yeah, I mean, look, from my point of view, I sort of feel like I've said all along, I think Liverpool are still the front runners on this. I think. How do I want to say this in the right way? I just feel like Liverpool will still pull this off. I can't see Liverpool losing. Why is my phone popping off? Why is everyone phoning? I'm literally getting phone calls from KJ, everybody. What's going on? I'm confused. Hang on. I don't actually understand why. I'm getting like people ringing me, phoning me. I'm live on the air. Do these people not know? I don't know what's going on. Hang on, let me just go and check this. Like, why am I getting calls? Have I done something wrong? I don't get it. Yeah, mate, I'm live on the air. What's going on, bruv? I don't know. I'm just reading what I'm seeing on socials. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, see what people think. Yeah, call the show, bro. Call the show. I'll chat to you in a minute, bro. All right, mate. Bye. Yeah, so look, I didn't think if I was live or not. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one for me. As I say, I still make Liverpool the front runners. I think United have got an outside chance. I think that Chelsea have got an outside chance. The thing about the deal is this, though. Chelsea is seriously looking at. Suppose you've got the way Chelsea have got to look at this is you've got Declan Rice that could be at the forefront of things for the next at the forefront of things for the next 5 or 6 years, maybe longer, maybe 10 years in the middle, where with Fabrizio it's going to be a lot less. Does that make sense? So you're going to be in a situation where you're only going to get with Thiago, you're only going to get a couple of years out of that, but it's going to be an interesting one to see what actually transpires and what actually happens in relation to that. But there we go. Matty, thank you very much for coming. I'm sorry, I'm reading things at the same time as trying to chat to people live on the air, and it's literally done my head in here. We've got Daniel Williams on the line next. Danny Williams, welcome, bro. Hey, what you saying?
I'm good, Terry. Yo, is this real? Is this real?
I've seen some. I've seen the Saga thing. I saw the post. I saw the post last night.
You know what it is? I'm looking at it, and the photo within the screenshot that I've seen, the photo's different than his actual photo.
Oh, is it?
I reckon it says troll. I reckon it's a troll, Terry. I think we've all been trolled here. I swear to God, it's a different picture. It's not the same picture. It's him standing somewhere in Italy, and obviously on his main page, the photo's him holding the Sky Sports microphone. Like, it's not.
Okay, cool. Well,
I swear.
Let me go and check this out now, because it could be an Insta post as opposed to a.
Okay.
Because it's. I think he's Insta.
Okay.
Let me just check his Insta. Yeah, his Insta is that picture you're talking about, and he did. So it was. So what it was. Let me get. So it was on his story last night. I swear. I know I've seen something. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, his story last night. I swear he posted it. I saw. I know I saw it myself, but I don't know now. Now that everyone's challenging it, I'm like, did I see it?
I don't follow him on Insta, so I'm just thinking of Twitter, and I'm thinking someone sent me a screenshot of like a Twitter thread.
No. Yeah. No, it is him. I can see it here. I can literally see it on Instagram right here. I'm putting it up on the screen, and he's posts on Kai Havertz. He then writes, also the Thiago Saga starts now. Somebody says, "Is it Man United?" And he replied with, "No, Chelsea."
Okay.
And it's him. So yeah, he has replied this. He said, "I'm not making this up. Like, it's legit." It's there.
Up to have your back, bro. I thought you got finesse.
No, but cool. That's it. But when someone sent me like a DM where supposedly somebody DM'd Fabrizio and he said, no, it's not them. I'm literally looking at his Instagram page and I can see the comments. And I'm going, how has someone hacked his account? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. If this on his gram, I thought it was on the Twitter one. That's why.
No, that's on the gram, bro. It's on the gram. It's on the gram.
I thought you got finesse. You know what I would say though is I've seen this before. I don't think United are in for Thiago. I don't think we've got past. We're not negotiating with Bayern. So if you see Chelsea, he just doesn't want to come to United for whatever reason, or we're just not actually in for him. And this is once again Liverpool stalling on a deal, and Chelsea just being like, all right, you want to stall on a deal? We'll just go and get this player. This guy's a top quality player. We're not going to mess around. And for those who don't know, this is exactly what Man United and Manchester City did with Eden Hazard. They messed his agent around, and his agent was just like, all right, you guys have made an offer, but you're not paying me what I want. I'm just going to go to Roman. And Roman paid the agent exactly what he wanted. I know as Chelsea fans think Hazard chose them. No, they went for the best deal for Hazard and the agent in the end, because City and United at that time were just like, actually, we're not going to get into the bidding war for this. This is what we're going to pay for this deal.
Yeah.
And Chelsea don't mess around. Roman's back. He's back. He's not playing around. Like if Chelsea are going in for Thiago, we know they're going to be quick about it, and they're not going to haggle over wages. They're not going to haggle over agent fees. They'll pay the 30 mil, no problem.
Yeah.
Like Liverpool fans, have any Liverpool fans called up? Because the way they're going about, if they lose another target to Chelsea, how are they gonna? What PR spin are they gonna do on this?
Well, this is mate, and that's it. And you know what? Liverpool fans always take, "Oh, you're all being salty." I'm not here. I'm actually trying to stay as non-partisan as I can, because we all know Kai Havertz was a long-term target of Liverpool. Liverpool fans have told me this for a year, right? You can go back and just search Twitter around June time. Kai's coming. Timo Werner was a certainty to come in, and I felt it was a certainty to come in. As an example, you got the Jamal Lewis situation. That's spin around. They wanted us to pay above 20 million, and we weren't prepared to pay it. But yet they're happy for him to go to Newcastle. Their spin is, oh yeah, but they were just trying to make us pay the big club tax. And I'm like, oh, so now the big club tax exists when you're being asked to pay it. But when you want to laugh at Man United paying over the odds for people, or Chelsea paying over the odds for people, it's because we've got bad negotiators. And it's like, you could argue they didn't need Jamal Lewis. I think Jamal Lewis is a better player than the fullback that they've signed, and we'll see that this year. Liverpool, in my opinion, fans are being spun by the Liverpool media. And this is why I said yesterday, I respect Matt Laws as a Chelsea journalist, but he's in bed with Chelsea. He's in bed with Chelsea.
Terry, I've been saying this for a while now. They're bums, fam. They're moving like bums.
Well, Liverpool, it's crazy. I want Liverpool fans to phone the show. The Skype lines are easy to find. Just search Football Terrace. You'll literally see our badge. We're the only one out there. Give us a call. Get yourself on the air. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling, because if you lose Thiago to United or to Chelsea or to Ramsgate FC, it doesn't matter who you lose it to. This is the most embarrassing summer in Liverpool's football history. You are champions of England for the first time in trois decades, and you're not signing anyone. You're not getting your business done quickly. If I was you, would be fuming at the way Jurgen Klopp is being disrespected by your club. I would be fuming at the way you as fans are being disrespected by your owners, by FSG, but you're being spun. Tory FC, Spin FC, to lap it up and believe it.
Sorry.
Get the deal done. Yes, boys.
And then what happens is, the fans like O'Shea, the fans like Drifty, who have been calling this nonsense out for the entire summer, are the ones vilified for speaking the truth.
100%. And this is the thing for me. Like, these people need to speak up more and be listened to. And listen, I like the positive spin that Liverpool fans have on a regular basis. I enjoy it. I think it's fair. I like how they have their clubs back. But sometimes you have got to wake up and smell the coffee. And they're giving their club an easy ride through this summer by pretending it's all just going to be okay. And you know what? In the end, they might, if Liverpool end up paying the money in the end, right? They've been done and finessed. And there were rumors yesterday from ESPN that Man United's conversations with Thiago's now softening his approach around salary. And that says one thing. Look, he might still be a mercenary. I don't want to sign a mercenary. But there could be an element of Thiago saying, Liverpool just not coming in for me. So maybe I do need to think about going somewhere else because I want to leave Bayern Munich. We added Good News Junior to the show. Who do you support, Good News?
I support Man United.
Lovely. Thiago to Man United. Would you like it to happen?
Yeah, for sure. Thiago is a born player. He's a very, very good player. I don't know why United are stolen on the day. Okay, Thiago can help Fred. He can help. or midfield. Matic cannot run. I don't know why United are stalling on the. Okay, Chelsea. I hate Chelsea. I just hate Chelsea because Chelsea can make these faster. I hate Chelsea. I just hate Chelsea.
Okay, do you go, guys?
Can I just say,
Yep.
I don't think Man United are stalling on anything. I don't think we're stalling on a damn thing. If we're not negotiating with Liverpool are at the stage where they're talking to Bayern, Manchester United or not. If you find within a few days that Chelsea are already talking to Bayern, then that tells you, that's common sense. It tells you United weren't in for him.
I've just been sent a screenshot of like the entire thread.
Okay.
And some people interpret it as there's someone asked a question to Chelsea or to Liverpool, and he said no Chelsea to that comment.
Some people say like meaning he means not Chelsea. Okay, yeah, cool. And that's the thing here. This could end up not happening. Again, this is interpretation of what a tweet has said. But what I love about it? I'm not sure if Fabrizio himself has come out directly and addressed it. He might do later and clear this up, and then we can all wash our hands and move on. One thing is still for sure, though, and like I said yesterday, we can argue over what one journalist says about Chelsea, how much Chelsea are going to spend on a player, and how much somebody else says they're going to spend. Thank you, by the way. Good news for coming on. The one thing's for sure in this. The one thing is for sure that cannot be ripped apart. It's two things that stand out here for me. He said a saga is about to begin. Now, for me, one club don't often create a saga unless it's going to be an absolute battle, right? That for me says more teams are going to get involved or this is going to get bloody in a hypothetical sense. Equally, Liverpool still dragging their heels. Whether it's Chelsea coming in or not, whether it's just Man United, whether it's somebody else, Liverpool are still dragging their heels here. Liverpool here are still fighting about £3 or £4 million. You know, for me, that element cannot go away and shouldn't be ignored, in my opinion. If I'm a Liverpool fan anyway, that would be my opinion, KJ. So again, listen, we'll wait for Fabrizio to kind of come out and say this. This is what we're here for as a community, is to talk about what's there.
Can I just say,
there's
go on. 146 replies in that team. So salute to anybody who actually delves through that. Trying to actually ascertain whether he's
exactly.
Because what happens is on Instagram, it does all the it like shortens the comments on when it's on like the mini view, and then if the person replies, it just puts it underneath like whatever one, and the one above the Fab's reply is to Man United, and then it looks like it's saying no Chelsea, but the person you actually reply to is all the way in.
Okay, I get what you're saying. It makes sense. This is the thing, though, but there's a response here from a Liverpool fan. But this is where Liverpool fans are shook about this. The response on Twitter says, Fabrizio said United and Chelsea are not in the convo. Do your research, mate. Yeah, but then Christian Falk, who, again, I trust a little bit more on Bayern Munich news than I do, maybe not outcomes of prices. You've always got to understand that the outcome of a price could be very, very different because he's always going to feed the Bayern story a little bit more. But he has said that United have had conversations with agents and have had preliminary conversations with the football club about Thiago. So, you know, this is the thing with what I love about the transfer window. I had a pop at Chelsea fans about this yesterday for their bias, is you will believe, you see how Chelsea fans have got gassed about Fabrizio's message. However they've interpreted it, they've got gassed about it. But yesterday when he said they were paying £90 million in total for the player, they rejected that element of his news because it was more expensive than they wanted it to be. And this is where I say to football fans, doing research doesn't mean seeking the information that feeds your beliefs and feeds your narrative. It's about reading multiple people. And like I've said, I still make Liverpool favourites. Regardless of this tweet, Instagram post, I still think Liverpool are behaving like cheapskates in this market, like Recession FC. They're doing that. I'm never going to yield from that belief, whether Chelsea are involved or not. We're going to go to Kai in a minute on the call. We've got James here who says, last week I'm losing patience with SFG. He said, I've had enough of it now. FSG are taking Klopp for a ride. And that is the response I think Liverpool fans should be having here. Whether Chelsea are involved or not, United are involved or not. If no one else is involved and you're haggling over £3 or £4 million, when your league campaign starts in a week, in 1 week, you kick off your defense of your title. You need new players. You've lost individuals. You've got a squad that was struggling towards the end of the season. Real Liverpool fans can see that in the last 10, 15 games, you won some, but you really struggled and huffed and puffed. You need reinforcements. I would be fuming as a Liverpool fan, whether Chelsea were involved or not. So don't get stuck in the weeds on, no, but I don't think Fabrizio meant Chelsea are involved. Oh, great, Chelsea are not involved. What's that got to do with you not signing your players, really? Again, you're allowing yourselves to get caught in the weeds on this. Kai has now joined the call. Kai, what are you saying, bro?
Yeah, hey, Terry, you doing all right?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Listen, I don't even want Thiago. He's an amazing player. You know, I loved him through the years, but you know, we
Yes,
can
Kai, bro. Yeah.
we can add like 5 million, so it's completely unreachable for Liverpool. You know, be like, okay, Byron, we'll give you 35, and Liverpool will be like, but we barely made it to 30, man.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it's. I know for a fact Liverpool fans are shook about this, and they're worried about it. They're just, you know, when someone. See, that's what I love about Drifty, right? Drifty winds me up sometimes when Liverpool winning because they're rivals, and I hate seeing him happy when Liverpool win. I like seeing Drifty happy in life, by the way. Drifty's a good guy, but Drifty will call it out as it is. And that's why Drifty is their Liverpool platform's doing really, really well. But the reason their Liverpool platform didn't grow over the success of the last 2.5 years is they're real with it. They will still call out the problems. They'll still call out the players that are not doing so well. They didn't toe the party line by being outright. I mean, I saw one Liverpool YouTuber do like a ratings video once. Liverpool on social media kicked off that he gave one rating too low. He remade the video and readjusted his opinion because of the hate he was getting, right? So for me, I'm like, that's why I respect Drifty in that more, because they don't sit in the Overton window. They don't sit there and say, right, I'm going to say all the things that the majority of fans want me to say or do. And I think more people are now waking up to the fact that's happening. We've got
Did you speak about
one sec, sorry.
Wanting Havertz?
Who?
Liverpool are claiming that they didn't want Havertz, that they didn't want Werner. You know,
No, see, listen, no Liverpool. I don't. You know, I don't really care. I do care what they say on socials. If any Liverpool fan comes on this platform and says it, they're getting shot down, because for me, that is all I saw from the beginning of January through to around the end of lockdown. I remember it. We're signing these two players. I remember talking about Kai Havertz, and I said his name wrong on a show, and I got dogs abuse from hundreds of Liverpool fans saying, "Don't disrespect our future player. Future German king, he's going to come and play for our manager. Rare. I saw this. I heard this. Super chat here from Promo says Fabrizio said no Chelsea in response to someone asking, is he going to Liverpool or Chelsea? Okay, fair enough. So it might mean that. Again, it could mean he's not coming. However, let's just wait. I've got one more super chat and then I go to you, Danny. Then we're going to go to Monster. Sorry, one sec. Cool. Jin here says, I don't care how we do it, but we need to steal Thiago from Liverpool. We need to go all guns blazing to get him. I want United to show intent, is what Jin says. We'll respond to that in a minute, Jin. Go on, Danny. What were you going to say, bro?
So is Kai a Liverpool fan?
No, Chelsea.
No,
Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea. Okay, you know what's? Oh, he's saying he does, as a Chelsea fan, he doesn't want Thiago. Fair enough. You've got Jorginho.
Yeah.
You know
not
what?
because of Jorginho. I just don't need him. Our midfield is stacked. Like the last position we need to strengthen is our midfield.
You need
so
a
much
centre
depth.
back.
You know?
You need a centre back.
Exactly.
That's the same thing with United. We need a left back before we need Thiago. As much as I'd want Thiago, we need a left back. That's more of a priority. What I was going to say was like Thiago going to Liverpool is my worst nightmare. Terry, we did a stream, I think 24 hours before, and we were talking about this. And I was saying the worst thing Liverpool could do for everyone else is sacrifice one of the workhorse midfielders and get some proper technical quality in there. And then literally the next day, we see Thiago. I'm like, fuck, I hate Liverpool. But you know what? I hope they fuck this up.
I don't think he's enough. Even if they sign him, I still think that their depth in attack is quite shit. You know? Other than Origi,
look, I think they need someone else in attack. What I will say is Liverpool still have the best team in the Premier League. They're starting 11 plus one or two subs. They're the best.
It's still City, I think. But
I mean,
they had a good.
It's a good debate, but Liverpool are champions, and I think Liverpool deserve that respect because they won what they did. Do I think they've been found out a little bit? I think elements of it have been. And where Liverpool fans frustrate me is how they take that so personally and deep, as if no other team in the history of football has ever been found out a little bit. You know, if we just take it away from the Premier League, we look at Barcelona. Barcelona from sort of 2004 up until the last 2 or 3 years have been on an absolute madness for 15, 16 years. But even if you look in that period, that came in waves. There was always time and periods where they were brilliant, and then they'd not go off the boil domestically, but on the European level, they go away a bit, come back. But what's helped them through that whole process is they've had Messi. They've had one of the greatest players to ever play football in that side. But they would still go through peaks and troughs. They would go through, like I've seen Barcelona with brilliant players get battered in the Champions League by other European teams, as an example. So these things happen at European level. They also happen at domestic level, where a team can be outstanding for a couple of years, and then they have a season or two where a couple of players move on, a few new players come in. It takes a little bit of time to readjust and get back to your best again. So Liverpool, after 2.5 years of being, for me, the best team on the planet, I really mean that in that time period, it's understandable that teams are going, actually, if we play this formation against them, if we use this tactic against them, we can maybe outmaneuver them a little bit. It happened to all of Fergie's best teams. And then what did he have to do? He had to go and buy in the market, or he had to rejig things in terms of these formations to get his team back to the top again. Saying to Liverpool fans that might be happening to you, if they take that as an offense, that tells me more than anything they know it's true. Why are you reacting so badly? Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, and they need Thiago. If they sign Thiago, they've already brought this backup left back in, and maybe one other kind of good backup player. And I still think that Liverpool need to look at a player like a Callum Wilson, like a Josh, someone that's happy to be on the bench at Liverpool, but can come on and score on some goals, can be a bit of a thorn in the side. If they add that, they will retain their title to me. If they don't sign anybody, though, of any real note or merit, Liverpool will make top 4, but I think they'll miss out, and there'll be carnage at Anfield, because imagine waiting all this time to win a title. You win it in the most spectacular way, and then it's almost like you're saying, right, I'm done now. I'm off. See you later. I'm going to go. I just feel like Liverpool fans are going to come out of this, and they're going to be so angry. I really, really do. Monstar's joined us. What are you saying, Monstar?
Pray for the rivals. Listen, there is a possibility that Chelsea can hijack or will hijack that Thiago deal. So all that nonsense, all that nonsense everyone's spewing, the Liverpool fans, don't worry, man. It's, three times out of 3. First it was Werner, then Kai Havertz. It could be Thiago as well. Keep dreaming, man.
Yeah, they're crying wolf at this point. We didn't want that guy. We didn't want that player. We'll be fine. It's no problem.
Yeah, can I add on that point, Terry? Listen, what I think is Liverpool fans are a bit cocky. Yeah, if they go to Stamford Bridge and lose 2-0 or 3-0, then reality will hit them. That this season is not going to be as easy as last year. You know what I mean? Then they will realize that teams are strengthening. The top teams are getting back to where they should be, and then the Liverpool fans, I think, will react to the fact that they didn't sign anybody.
It's not just that. It's very, very. The history of the Premier League tells you if you maintain a high standard for 2 to 3 seasons, you're going to drop a level. Like, these guys aren't superheroes. I'm surprised Mane and Salah haven't been more injured the way Klopp plays and the amount of football they've played. To be honest with you, I think that's coming for them. That's why
they have the African Cup of Nations soon, right?
No, I think it's been moved back. But regardless, the history of football tells you when a team has a 2 to 3 year period of getting to Champions League finals, winning Premier League titles, that takes a toll on you mentally and physically. Yeah. You need to refresh things. The master of dominating the Premier League is Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah, and he said the same thing. Yeah.
He is the blueprint to follow. Yeah. 2 issues. One is complacency. That's a hard thing to guard against. He said he always had to guard against that. That's why he'd get rid of players that used to maybe, act like they're bigger than the football club or bigger than him. And he said you always need to refresh things to keep people on their toes. It's just inevitable. So, all those Liverpool fans who are just so deluded to think they can just move into a second season without signing anybody.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be
mate,
all daisies and roses and all of this stuff.
I can't wait. That is so true.
I love it if they don't sign anybody.
Do you know what I remember? I don't remember. Did 2002 Arsenal won the league, right? It has to be
2002, 2003, I think.
So United won it 99, 2000, 2001. So I think they must have won it 01-02 season. They have to have done because we didn't go 4 on the bounce, and no one else was winning Premier League titles then. So I think they won it 01-02. And the reason I know that must be the date is because of where I was training kickboxing at the time. I think the summer of 2002, going into the 2002-2003 season, I don't believe, and I'm going to go and check this now while I'm live on the air. I don't think Arsenal signed anybody of any real merit, and they were the best team that year. But I don't think they signed anybody of any real merit that one time as champions. Yeah, and I always remember
2003, 2004, Terry.
Sorry,
2003.
Yeah, because Chelsea's 04, 05, then 05 or 06, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm looking at is there was a summer where they didn't sign anybody of any real note, and I think it was the so they did sign someone then. So 0102. So anyway, there was a summer where they won something. They didn't sign anybody of any real note, and I think it might have been the summer of 02 where I think they signed Gilberto Silva that turned into a very good player, but he was only a £6 million guy, and they signed Pascal Sigan. And I remember Arsenal fans like that used to go to my gym kicking off something chronic about this. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And they're like, mate, we're just fuming. Like, we haven't really signed anyone. They felt it was arrogance to go into the season thinking that United wouldn't come back stronger and that we wouldn't need reinforcements. And I always kind of remember them being angry about it. And I didn't really think anything of it until now, until sort of nearly 18 years later, where Liverpool might try and do it 2 years running. And it's a madness. And as you say, if the opening, there is this belief amongst some Liverpool fans that they're just going to breeze the league again, that they're just going to 90 odd points. We're going to beat everybody. There isn't going to be a problem. History doesn't say that's true. One, only in 70 odd years, only 11 times have teams retained their title, which tells you that's rare in itself, right? So very rarely do teams retain their title. In the last decade, it's happened only once in the Premier League. So
I think it was City, right?
Yes, and City have done it. And then
Terry, sorry, bro. So I'm looking at it now, if I've got this right. So after they won the Invincible season, they haven't
Chelsea,
signed...
and Chelsea threw them out of the water like nothing.
Yeah, and obviously because they were building the stadium, they couldn't really spend money. That's what Arsenal fans would say.
And they've been in the FA Cup level ever since.
If I'm looking at this right, their best signing after winning, going Invincible, was signing a 20-year-old Robin van Persie.
Yeah, so he wasn't. And I think that was the point of the Arsenal. It might have been that summer, so I don't quite remember the date 100%.
Yeah, but obviously we know Van Persie now, but at that time, if you're an Arsenal fan, it's a 20-year-old.
Yeah, you know, exactly, and that's why Arsenal fans were angry back then. That I remember speaking, and these were match-going gooners that knew and loved their club. So they did win the league in 02, and they did win it in 04. If you look at the summers, and this is how you retain a title. Look at the summer of 02-03. They spent £9 million. They didn't win the league. And the following year, in when United retained it, they spent 27 million, which, by the way, in 03-04 was a lot of money, right? They then win the league again, and they only spend 11 million. And then they lose out to Chelsea, and then they go and spend 41 million. You see the pattern here with Arsenal. Whenever they won the league, they never went and spent again that summer to reinforce, and they never retained their title. And that's the point. History should be used as a marker. You nearly always have to go and strengthen. You nearly always have to go and do it. And the one thing that Gary Neville called out about Man United, we did win 3 titles on the bounce. But Gary Neville, in his book Red, it's an amazing read. Go and buy it. He speaks about how United became so complacent because they were walking the Premier League, and we didn't sign enough extra quality into the squad to go again in Europe. He said we become a bit bloated and a bit complacent. That may not have been his actual words, but he alluded to that. And looking back now, he wished that Man United, and it could have been his place, because there were definitely better right-backs in the world then. But his simple point was we probably should have gone into the market between 99 and 2002 and bought better and maybe strengthened the team further. Maybe, because that team, United were at their best. I
mean, we tried to. That's why we bought Varane.
Yeah, but that was still later down the line, bro. That was still 2 or 3 years later. It should have been the summer of 99. We should have gone out and bought, I don't remember who the top... What
year did we buy Poborski?
Oh, that was 1996.
That was 96.
Yeah.
But you know what the context for all of this? And back then they were before Chelsea got the Roman money, right? It was basically United and Arsenal battling it out. Liverpool were not even in the top 7 back then. And then and then now you have 6 teams, and the league also has a lot more money because of the TV deal. So you have all these teams who can improve every season. So it's harder than ever to retain the title than it used to be, right? And I think Liverpool, the fact that they're not very experienced in winning Premier League titles, I think they're taking it for granted. That's what I think.
No, but I understand that. I was just going to finish my point on that. What I was basically saying about Liverpool, it's alluding to what Dan said, and then just that sort of level further around needing to buy, defending a league title, but it's also about dominance and the speed that Liverpool play at, the intensity they play at. I've said it all along. I think it's a 2 or 3 year process to win things in that short period of time, and then you need to reinvest big because you burn people out, not just physically but mentally. And I feel that that's the difference. Where Fergie would always have every team he built, there was almost like a 5, 6, 7 year plan, which is part of the reason why towards the end of his time at United, the last couple of years, I don't think he was thinking beyond that, because there has to be an element of narcissism and selfishness in elite people at any level. There needs to be a little bit of that around, I need to win the league, which is why I think he put stopgaps in between 2011 and 2013 to win that title again a couple more times, because he didn't have it in him because of his age to do another build that would set a team up. Because building a team, I think, takes 5-6 years when you do it. And even with Chelsea are going big here. I know Chelsea fans are gassed. It could still take a couple of years. And do you know how I know this, right? I was watching Premier League years last night. I love watching Premier League years because it just takes you back. And I watched the 98-99 season. It was a treble one, probably why I put it on. People should go back then and look who Chelsea bought and who Chelsea had in their team, right? Chelsea had Frank Leboeuf, Desailly. They had Laudrup, right? They had Zola. They had Tori Andre Flo. To them, yeah, they did have. By the way, Chelsea fans, I know we won't know this name. Any Chelsea fan watching, you had Dubry at the back, right? But you had ballers, and you guys went out and bought big. And I remember there was an interview, and somebody sort of said to Gianfranco Vitali, and they said to him, like, do you not feel you should be doing better? You were one of the season's favourites to challenge for the title because of who you bought. And it never really clicked. And I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but it could still take another 18 months to 2 years to get this group to their best. And I think that people lose sight of that. And for Liverpool, they're at the peak of their powers. Everyone wants to take you down. Everyone wants to take the legs from underneath you. How you stay up there is by building out and making yourself stronger. And if you keep scrimping and scraping over a few million here, if Jamal Lewis at Newcastle goes there and kills it, right?
No, that's the biggest insult, that right there, because everyone says Liverpool are this amazing team in the transfer market. They don't get any duds. They always sign right. But if they were this amazing team in the transfer market, they would have waited. They might have got quoted a price that they're not happy with. They would have waited and then came back to get their first choice. But because they couldn't be asked to do that, they're like, oh, okay, let's get this second choice Greek guy that we've apparently been tracking for 3 years, but no one's ever heard of. You know what I'm saying?
To be fair, it's a backup fullback. It's not.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with that.
It's still like Jamal.
Yeah, it's level below. Like
what it is. The interesting thing is, you know what it is with Liverpool for me. That Coutinho sell is really. We don't really get a sense of what FSG spending habits are really like if they can't sell players. Or I guess some would say actually no, we do. They don't want to spend any money.
But this is the thing about net spend that's interesting. So we had Kieran Maguire on. I need to get these financial guys back on. I just never have the bloody time. I speak to him. We sort out dates, and then I just run out of time to get them on. We've got a Pan-African journalist that wants to come on as well, talk Thomas Partey, and I just don't ever have the slots to get him in. But essentially, with SFG, Liverpool's model. So I believe I am now trying to rack my brains to remember about going back 5 months and watching the video that I did with Kieran. But essentially, they part of their model to make themselves profitable, they have to sell. They don't with what they pay out in salaries, with what players they buy cost them, they don't have the level of income up until the Nike deal could change this for them. They didn't have the level of income to not have to sell players at some point. This is why net spend is such a myth, because yes, in the short one season period of time, net spend is completely and utterly not real, not used. You could argue over a 4 or 5 year period, you look at it. However, if one club has a business model, so if you look at clubs like Lyon as an example and Dortmund, their business model, a big percentage of their income comes from selling players. So their net spend in the transfer market is going to generally be higher than that, say, of Paris Saint-Germain. However, Paris Saint-Germain don't need to sell to make money. They make money off their income through merchandise, from sponsorships. So their transfer net spend will appear higher, but that's not how net spend is done, because you spend a percentage of your income. So with Man United, if we turn over £600 million in a year, and we spend £200 million in the transfer market, and we'll take out all other expenses, we'll just break it down to that. Our net, we're still like £400 million in profit in relation to that. Now, we don't make £400 million profit because you've got all the other expenses, but let's just keep it down to those factors. If you're Liverpool and your income is £400 million, right, but £100 million of that is you selling players, you spend £200 million, your net spend is £200 million, because it's not about what you spend in the market, it's how you generate income as a football club. And if you have to sell players for you to even make a profit as a football club, that's not Man United's fault. What people like to do there is that they take that away and they go, but our net spend is brilliant. But that's because your club doesn't have we don't need to have good net spend in terms of transfer deals because of our income. It's crazy.
All you're bragging about is we can sell players for a lot of money. Well, good for you. Like, I don't give a damn how much you sell. I don't understand the whole net spend thing, like bragging about that to me. if you've got a good net spend, even if you believe in that model, it just means you sold the player for a lot of good. Well, good for you.
I
How
agree.
much money did you spend on your squad? 300 mil. We spent 300 mil as well. It doesn't matter what we sold.
Yeah,
It's
no,
what we have now,
because you sold, and that's how you had the money to do it. We had the money anyway. Like for me, it's not a deep thing. I just want to hang on.
Yeah, Stroh wants to come on. By the way, he'd be like.
I thought Anita wanted to come on.
Yeah, I mean they can call via Skype. If they call via Skype, I'll get them on.
Yeah, Stroh's just putting the little one down, and then
okay, cool. Yeah, Skype lines are open. Just search Football Terrace. We'll get you on. As long as it's your name and I can see you. We had a super chat here from Jake. He says, "I'm a Liverpool fan. I think we need signings elsewhere. We may not even get the top 4 if we don't." That's from Jake, who's a Liverpool fan. He's worried about the top 4.
Relax. Like, I was gonna say that Liverpool, if they don't sign anybody and the rate that everyone else is improving, there's a chance that they will finish 4th, not fall out the top 4 though. Like relax. You know what I mean? Like,
you're confident, KJ. I'm not there yet. If we get Sancho, I'm with you on that all day
long.
Yeah,
the thing is, I believe we're getting Sancho and another player, so like that's why I'm saying it.
Fair enough.
It's happening, bro.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Yeah, but yeah, they need to be careful now. Like Liverpool Football Club can't be resting on their laurels and the fact that Klopp's a really good coach. Like they have to be a football club. They have to be champions of England and show everyone that they're still champions of England. Because right now, if I'm Chelsea, United, Man City, and looking at Liverpool's transfer biz, and I'm like, yo, these men ain't serious. So let's go for them.
You know what the flip side to that is, though, and this is what sort of only little thing that worries me is that what if Keita comes good this year, and Firmino all of a sudden decides he wants to be a striker that scores goals, that could change. That could change how their season goes. Because obviously, in the last 2 years, those two, Keita's been a flop. Like if Liverpool weren't winning things, Keita would be a target. Liverpool been winning, so he's got away with. Obviously, he's been injured. That's not his fault. But and Firmino, it wouldn't surprise me if out of nowhere Firmino just pops up 20 league goals this season. That would not surprise me.
Yeah, mate, bro.
That's not his game. That's not his game.
But that's
it's not his game, but he's capable. Like,
we have seen
and this is
get to 18 goals. In the leagues. I mean, domestic. I'm even talking.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'd say though to that, Danny? You know what? One thing we're underestimating here is Jurgen Klopp, because Klopp, for me, he'll toe the party line, but he'll want to sign these players. Klopp inside, this is where Klopp's brilliant. Klopp inside will be pissed that Werner's gone to Liverpool. He'll be pissed if they don't get Thiago. He'll be annoyed that he won't ever now, in my opinion, won't ever get Kai Havertz as a Liverpool manager, because there's no way, unless he bombs, if he bombs, he's not going to want him. That deal happens because of the size of the two clubs now. I think it's practically impossible. So he'll be annoyed, but he won't ever let that be shown. He'll back his players publicly. He's a great man manager. I also think he's a brilliant tactician, and I wouldn't be surprised if you look at the way they started the season 2 years ago, Liverpool, and they were less gun-ho. It was less heavy metal football. They were a little bit more conservative. They were harder to break down. He changed things. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a change in Liverpool. Maybe it'll be bled in over the first 4 or 5 games. And I think we might see less attack coming from their fullbacks. If Thiago signs, as an example, more trying to go through the middle. If Naby Keita can stay fit, because I think he'll realize himself, we have to change up what we do. No matter how good your team is, if you play the same way, it's why Man United can become predictable, and why Bruno's helped it a little bit because he drifts, is everything came down the left-hand side of our attack. So nullify the left, and United are done, because we didn't have any balance to our team. So we know that to rectify that, we just need to add quality on that right-hand side. And so you don't need to change the system. It just, but United can make that work with Sancho for 18 months. And then we're going to have to change something up, because teams can watch video and go, right, well, that's how we stop them. Because don't get it twisted. Even team managers that manage clubs in the bottom half of the Premier League, they know more about football in their tip of their little finger than all of us do put together in our bodies. They will work out with coaches how to stop somebody. And it's doable. And we've seen that happen so many times over the course of history. We've got another super chat here from Mark, who says, "Morning, Terry. If we get Thiago and Sancho after Donny, I'll be happy. Knowing the Glazers, though, I can only see one, and that's Thiago." Thiago, Man United fans on the call.
No, okay.
Go on, mate. Go on. Respond to that, bro. Go on.
Terry. All right, so he says, "I know the Glazers, so I can only see Thiago." If you know the Glazers, if you have 6 players we've got 5 players in one position, the Glazers won't sign anybody in that position. They'll tell Woodward and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, no, you have Fred, you have Matic. This is why I don't think we're in for Thiago. We can't spend 30 million when we need a left back Like, we're not. If we get Thiago, we're not getting a left back. And then we have to move on. Then we have to try and sell Fred, maybe try and sell Matic. I don't think we're doing any of that nonsense. Like, it's not a coincidence. We sent Chris Smalling out on loan and we signed Maguire. Valencia finally leaves. We buy a right back. Then Ashley Young leaves. Those things aren't a coincidence. It's one of the reasons why a centre back is not the priority that we think it is. If we can't get rid of Marcus Rojo, which can't get rid of him. Phil Jones is on too much money. Like, if we don't get rid of these guys, we probably won't get a centre back. Like, the Glazers, they balance things out well. Sorry, go on, Monster.
Yeah, Monster.
I would say quickly. I would say that if, being fair, I don't think this is going to happen anyway, because I think Chelsea will win the league anyway. But if Liverpool do win the league and not sign anyone, or just sign that left back they signed, we have to give them credit. Being fair,
yeah, but that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. The players are not hungry. Like, look at the last, after they won the league, look at them, like, the way that they started playing, Even, like, if you look at the game against Arsenal, tell me that Liverpool played with the same intensity. They just, see, the reason teams, they sign players after winning titles, even Sir Alex said it, like, the biggest opponent you can have is yourself, right? Like, if you're complacent, if you just, like, won the league, if you just ate, right? Like, if you just ate, you're not going to want to eat again if you're already not hungry. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Yeah. If you just had a big meal, which is a title, like in this metaphor, then you're not going to do the same. You need someone under you who's going to tell you, okay, if you're not playing if you're not hungry enough for a trophy, right? You're still going to be hungry to keep your place, because there's someone underneath you who's going to take. Is Shaqiri really going to take the place of what's his name of Salah, right? Like, it's not going to happen, right? Is Origi going to take the place of Firmino or Mane? It's not going to happen.
Like, well, look, it's one game. But look at David De Gea's performance for Spain.
Yeah.
And I want to see 3 or 4 more before I kind of formulate an honest opinion. But I think Dean Henderson could be the best thing to happen to David De Gea. They always say a change is as good as a rest. Now, sometimes that means sometimes that means you leaving to get your change. Sometimes it could be just a new element added to the dressing room that kicks you into gear. I think Donny van der Beek will have the same effect on Pogba and Bruno, that element of, one, relieving pressure, but equally some actual competition. No disrespect to McTominay, Fred, Pereira, these ain't competition for that. Do you get what I mean? It's like Pogba up against one of those guys in a challenge is like taking candy from a baby. It's not a challenge, and you become bloated on that. And that's the one thing for Liverpool. I don't care how much they say we're up for it, we're going to fight for the season next year. If there isn't competition for places, they'll struggle. Having said that, we've added Stroh to the show. We've got a Liverpool fan on now. We've been talking about Liverpool for about 50 minutes with no real Liverpool sort of view. I think Stroh's been added. You there, Stroh? Yes, you are, bro. Yeah, what are you saying, bro? My guy, Stroh. You're definitely on the call. I can see you. Maybe he'll chat in a minute. We'll go to some super chats before Stroh speaks. First one here from Jake, who says Jones and Brewster will have to step up if we sign nobody. Yes, and that could be an option. Maybe Liverpool are going to try some of these kids. Then we'll know whether they're good enough, because I know they get rated as academy players, but we've all seen this before. I remember when Jay Spearing was being touted as the next big thing at Liverpool, and I remember Liverpool fans buzzing about him. And you can go back and find the articles. Just go back 10 years and search the articles about Jay Spearing. And they did. And it's not, I'm not even being salty. It's the truth. It's the truth. They did.
This is why I love it. I love our age, Terry, because the 20-year-old Liverpool fans won't remember this. Ira, you're 100% right. Jay Spearing, little bloody hobbit.
Yeah, but Jay Spearing from the academy. You also have players like when Liverpool fans
Terry Stroh's ringing now.
Yeah, but I keep answering. Now. It's not. I answered it. I have answered it, and it's just not pushing. It's here now. Stroh, you there, bruv?
Yeah, I'm here.
Lovely. I was just saying to the guys about. I want to get your take on this Thiago deal and not spending money. But you're older like us. Like, a lot of your youngsters are very talented, and I would never disagree with that. But I always say that proof's in the pudding when they play, because I remember your youngsters, whether you bought them or they came through your academy, the Jay Spearings of this world, the Martin Kellys of this world, the David Ngos of this world, those players were tipped by Liverpool fans to be stars as well. And sometimes when it comes to the cold light of day of playing football, it doesn't always pan out how you hope it does.
No, I agree. I mean, you look at Jay Spearing, he was tipped to be the Danny Murphy replacement at the time, and he was tipped to be next Liverpool captain. Didn't work. Martin Kelly tipped to be the next Jamie Carragher and stuff like that, and never worked. And don't even get me started on David and Go. Jesus Christ. What an awful player he was. Best thing he ever did was score against United, and it's probably the only thing that he ever did.
No, I agree.
But yeah, the thing is it's all well and good relying on youth. You've got to bed them in properly. Then it's a case of sink or swim, and the position that we're in, we can't afford for players to be sinking or swimming. We need ready-made players ready to go for the season, and that's the issue that some Liverpool fans are now starting to have with this transfer window.
It's true. On that, right? So this is for youngsters. Just on this for a second here. Tyrone here, by the way, with a super chat says, if Liverpool don't sign Thiago, it would be the first time in 2 years that I'm angry at the club. And we'll delve into that in a bit more detail. So I've got an article up here that was produced in December 2008. All right, it goes to top 20 young football players to watch. And it gives the Premier League's top 10. Now, this is who, back in 2008, this is why it's great to get excited about players, but always have in the back of your mind that things don't work out. Oh, youngers, you're not going to remember these guys because some of you was probably just like eating rusk and stuff back then, right? So these were the players, right? Number 10 was David Ngo, 19-year-old Liverpool forward from France. Number 9 was a player I don't even remember who is called Kristantan Nemeth. He was a Liverpool forward from Hungary, 19 years old. Number 8 was a 16-year-old Jack Wilshere. Number 7 was a 19-year-old Man United Brazilian midfielder called Rodrigo Possebon. Number 6 was a Chelsea forward called Franco De Santo. And Chelsea fans thought this kid at 19 was going to be the guy.
I just say, anyone who's played Football Manager knows about Possebon.
Possebon on Football Manager in that time, he always become world-class. Number 5, another Arsenal forward, 19, Carlos Vela. Number 4, these were particularly the guy to be the best. Number 4, Johnny Evans at Manchester United. Number 3 was a 17-year-old Arsenal midfielder called Aaron Ramsey, tipped to go on to be one of the world's best. Number 2, this one always, I love this guy, but it always gets me. Tipped to go on to be a star at 18 years old, a right back from Man United called Rafael De Silva. The number one in December 2008, tipped to go on to be the next global superstar out of the Premier League, was a 19-year-old Arsenal forward called Theo Walcott. And if you're old enough to remember, if you saw that list back then, you're all going, all these guys are wicked. And that's why I say about youngsters, let's see how they produce. So when you look at Rashford and when you look at Greenwood, I always use these two as examples. None. Not Ramsey, you'd probably say, yes, he did. I'd actually throw Ramsey in and say he did on that list. And Jack Wilshere did, barring injury. So those two I'll give credit to. Not one of those players has ever had seasons at their young ages like we've seen out of Rashford and like we've seen out of especially out of Mason Greenwood. That's why it's okay to gas these guys that come in and actually deliver at 18, 19, 20 years old. And by the way, these guys had it easier than Marcus Rashford because they were playing in very good Arsenal teams and brilliant Chelsea and brilliant Liverpool and brilliant Manchester United teams. So this wasn't like United, if you come through the academy at United in the last 4 or 5 years, it's been the worst time in 30 years to come through. Same as Arsenal, I would say. Like youngsters coming through Arsenal now, it's harder than back it was in 2008 as an example. And that's why I say when it comes to Liverpool's youngsters, I think they're all talented, I get it. But until they play a 30, 40 game season and we can really see them tested, the jury's always going to be out. Mason Greenwood just banged in 18, 19 goals in his first proper season. That tells me he's got something about him. I now need to see the work ethic to move it to that next level. Because what you don't want is in 3 years' time, him going on loan to Wigan, which I think is unlikely, but we have seen things like that happen before. On back to SFG, Stro, do you envisage more Liverpool fans being angry at your club if you don't get Thiago and if you don't sign anybody this summer?
Yeah, I can definitely see them being frustrated because you look at the Timo Werner deal and I mean, I was on the Football Terrace when he was twerking for Liverpool and it was practically Klopp was in conversations with him and he was coming out in media interviews and he only wanted Liverpool. And you asked me, the conversation on the Liverpool show is, out of a 10, do you think Werner joins Liverpool? And I was guaranteed he was because of all the stuff that was happening. But then we pulled the plug on it. And I understand why we pulled the plug on it because we're not going to pay and make him one of the highest paid players at Liverpool when he's not guaranteed to start. So that one I understand. The Thiago one is completely different. He's a midfielder that we've not had since Xavi Alonso. He's a midfielder that we need because he'll take us to a completely different level, which is scary when you think about how we've been for the past 2 seasons. He's a midfielder that will galvanise the whole changing room. You look at a Trent, for example. Technically, he's very, very good, but then he'll watch Thiago in training. He'll only get better. Keita, who has had his injuries and hasn't been playing at Liverpool fans thought he'd be, he can take him to the next level. Oxlade-Chamberlain, take him to the next level. Henderson, for example, even though he's the leader, he can learn things from him. He's that good. So for Liverpool fans, this is a case of you have to get this deal done. The only problem is if you look at our midfield list, and I was speaking to KJ before, is you've got the likes of, I think there's 11 midfielders that are listed to him, and he wants to get rid of Harry Wilson. He wants to get rid of Marco Grujic. He's already got rid of Lallana, but there's no transfer fee there. And it looks like Gini's going to have to go, or is going to Barcelona to make the Thiago deal happen, because we're just overloaded in midfield. My problem is just get him in and then get rid of him. Forget everything else. Just get him in. And then we'll deal with that issue later.
Yeah, I think so, because, it's, you just need to, I think the fans need it as well. And I know like a lot of fans like to toe the party line. I just think that Liverpool fans need to see a deal like this get itself done. In relation to other transfer news, peeps, Chelsea fans, do you think you're actually going to sign anybody else? We've heard Declan Rice. We keep hearing goalkeepers. Who do you think's next in the door for Chelsea?
I think we're going to get a goalkeeper, and I think we're going to get, I heard that they're looking for Rice if they can get him for 70 million, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous to me,
So if you were to sign him as well, right, if you were to sign him as well, and I'm not even trying to be like, this is, people always take when I talk about how much money Chelsea's spending, people are like, no, you're just being jealous. It's like, I'm not even jealous, brother. I'm just trying to get to the facts of how much you spent, because that's just, I'm intrigued by these types. I've always been intrigued by this kind of stuff. I'm just looking at it now, right, as an example. I mean, how much you spent this summer now? All being equal and fair. It's a fair bit, right? It's got to be like 200. It's got to be the highest transfer spend of any club in history of the Premier League. It has to be.
Yeah, but it's based on 2 transfer windows. Terry.
Yeah, like, that is. But I'm talking one window. What in terms of quality you've added, and I'm not. Again, we don't need to get into the semantics of it. It's not an attack. This is the point I'm saying. I'm just not attacking anybody for signing these players. I'm just stating how much has been spent.
I didn't take it as such. I'm just saying. Like,
so it's 200 million pounds so far. Of course, it's 200. It's 218 million pounds has been spent so far. With what's come in, and that includes Ziyech, because Ziyech come under this season because it wasn't officially a January sign. So Ziyech, Chilwell, Werner. It's interesting to see that. So Chilwell was, what was Chilwell? Chilwell was 50 million, wasn't he?
It's the less sexy signing of all of them for me.
So 50 million for him, 90 for Kai Havertz, 47 for Timo Werner, 36 for Ziyech. Actually, really, really cheap. So what we're looking at there. So looking at 13 on that, 4 is 8. 8 and 9 is 17, is 23. So you're looking at about 200. Listen, if you go to like 10 different publications, it's between sort of 220 and 230 you've spent on players. If you then get Declan Rice, that's pushing you towards a 300 million pound mark this one summer. And a goalie is going to cost you what, 20, 30 million?
Yeah, quickly. Declan Rice is not coming for 70 mil, Kai. Declan Rice is most probably it's quoted, Declan Rice is most probably going to be a 30 or 40 mil plus Ross Barkley. And then a goalkeeper, I don't think Chelsea are going to spend more than 25 mil for that.
Anything plus Ross Barkley is just money.
Where are you getting this info from, bro? Because you says West Ham even want a Barkley, fam. They want peas.
West Ham do want. Hold on. West Ham do want Barkley. They do.
How? Why would they want Barkley?
They wanted him in January.
Why would they want the English Donny van de Beek?
They wanted him in January. I'm pretty sure Chelsea will use Ross Barkley as a way to get Declan Rice. I'm pretty sure.
Didn't the West Ham board block the move? And they were like, we just want.
Chelsea haven't bid. Chelsea haven't bid yet. Chelsea have not bid yet. Anyone that says Chelsea have bid, they're lying. They have not.
No, they're not. They're not bidding. But Liam Toomey, I think he reported that they want 70 million for Rice, which is why Chelsea said no. And then
they wanted.
Now they're trying to negotiate it.
They wanted 100 million for Kai Havertz. They wanted 80 mil for Ben Chilwell. Things changed.
It's a waste of money. I wouldn't give Declan Rice even 50.
I want to ask Chelsea fans a question.
What do you guys think about this whole Declan Rice playing as a centre back. I don't understand that story.
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous youth plague that's trying to shove into down our throats. We have Gimenez, who's 60 million, who's experienced from Atletico Madrid, and we're signing a West Ham CDM to play centre back. But I'm not gonna rant about it. I'm happy with the Havertz. I'm not gonna be.
Can I ask a question about this Hazard thing? One thing that's been I was just looking here on some of the transfer fees. So Hazard's transfer fees now have been increased from 100 million to 144 million, which is great for Chelsea if you actually have got £44 million extra. And of course, this summer's interesting because the Alvaro Morata deal officially counts as a 2020-21 transfer because he was on loan for a season, wasn't he? They're now giving you the 50 million. So it's 200 million. So it's basically 200 million pounds across more than that. You had about 180 million pound of income through transfers last year, and you've had about 66. So really and truly, and that's why, again, Chelsea is like, they are spending big, but in terms of additional income into your football club, you've had over 240 million pound of income in transfer sales over the last 2 summers. Yeah. But why is suddenly where's this information come? Where's this information come? It's the second most in the. But what I'm alluding to is where is this? Where has this extra 44 million pound come from a Hazard? Because this wasn't reported until recently. Something to do with fraud or I don't know. I haven't read enough about it. What's being said?
Apparently, he had a clause in his contract that if Real Madrid wins the La Liga, which I guess Perez didn't see as reasonable, and he didn't see it going to happen. And thankfully, to Barcelona dropping a horrible season this season, I guess it was activated. So so that's apparently.
I'm interested to see how that transpires and whether that changes in future.
Wait. 40 million. They would give 40 million for winning the league.
See, that's what that don't feel right to me. And what I mean by that is, like, I've seen.
Marina's the GOAT.
Yeah, look, she's very, very good in a way, but that's weird. If Real Madrid have done that, then fair play to Chelsea for pulling someone's trousers down and spanking their ass. Because I've seen a number of contracts before. Not active contracts majority of the time, just like when I've been at football clubs and they've shown me things. Those things around if we win a Premier League title normally include a certain amount of games a player has to start. There's normally a level of input that needs to be included. There's often things like, are they in the, they have to win, they have to be in like the Liga team of the year. Like there's almost like sub clauses to it because otherwise Hazard spent half the season injured and they didn't win the league at all because of Hazard. But yet they've got to give 44 million. If Chelsea have done that and Real Madrid was stupid enough to sign it, I can't do anything but tip my hat. But that just sounds weird to me. Like, you just think about it. You would always put that stipulation in. Like, there's no way you would have a stipulation that's like, imagine having to pay imagine like United have to give another 20 million for Bruno, but Bruno gets injured all year and we win the Champions League. It's like, well, you have to pay us. Why would we? It's like Barcelona did it right. Barcelona don't have to give Liverpool any money for Coutinho winning the Champions League with another team.
But you know what? The thing with Marina, Terry, I'm taking my hat off to her because before this season and last season, I was like, this woman needs to go. She needs to leave Chelsea because she paid like 37 for what's his name for drink water or something like this, right? And our signing were utterly crap. She used to be really good at selling players, right? She was like a very stubborn negotiator, but she was never there to get those good players. But I guess that's where the youth came in because they filled gaps, blah, blah, blah. And then
but that's not her fault, bro. No, see, this is where I think you're getting it wrong. Her job isn't to go and sign players in terms of picking the right person. Her job is to take the list from the manager and the recruitment team and say, we want these 3 players. So if they tell her, she's not, no disrespect to her, she hasn't, I don't think she does. I don't think she's a qualified scout or a coach and can assess football players like a professional football person does. But if someone says to her, Declan Rice is our guy, go break the bank for him, no Declan Rice or drink water. That's her job to go and do what she's been instructed to do.
Yeah, she's a negotiator. She used to work as an oil reg.
Well, there we go. And that's my point. So, if by the way, if you get 3 or 4 of your signers, if Ziyech, Chilwell, and Werner flop, it's not her. It's not her fault.
It's her job.
Yeah, and that's what I say. It's her job to get them in for good money.
Sorry, can I just interject because I'm not feeling all this positive Chelsea spin right now. So basically, what's happened is the club that Eden Hazard has come from, there was a fraud case surrounding that football club. So their payment that they got for Hazard as part of the Chelsea to Real Madrid has basically revealed the true value of the Eden Hazard deal to Real Madrid.
Oh wait, is that Lille again being charlatans?
No, it's not Lille. It's someone else. It's someone else. So basically, it's not Lille. It's the club before.
So actually, so to get this,
so basically, the media, the reports about what the fee was worth were incorrect. And this is
so what this proves is what we were talking about yesterday. Certain journalists will just read out what someone's telling them. So you never really. That's why I say to people, there's no point fighting over the Kai Havertz deal, whether you think he was bought in for 90 or 80 million in total, because again they'll feed out what they want. But that extra 44 million, then did that go to Chelsea or does that go to his original club?
So basically, what's happened is the deal is worth. It's not £100 million deal. It's potentially worth 135, 140 million euros to 150, depending on who you believe. But they're not just getting 40. They're not getting 40 because they won the league. That's nonsense. That's just the media now know what the deal was actually worth.
But who gets that money? What's the break? Who gets that money?
Oh no. That's the Chelsea, man.
Okay.
Hazard, the Chelsea deal to Hazard was not £100 million deal. It was more than that.
See, what you're saying is they've said it's less than it really is, so they pay less on to the parent club.
Yeah.
So Chelsea are committing fraud.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Was only receiving something like 100 or 200,000, something really, really minimal. I think they were pissed off about that.
Listen, one thing I say about Chelsea, and this isn't even a detriment. If you get away with it, you get away with it. Like when you guys sold, I thought David Luiz, you bought. This was always what confused me, right? So what year did you buy David Luiz originally?
2010.
Right. So in 2010, you bought David Luiz for £22 million, right? He didn't do particularly well, and then you sold him like a couple of years later. I want to PSG for. I'm just going by the price in front of me here. 50 mil, and then you bought him, and then he went there and was brilliant. 30. No, it was 44, between 45 and 50. We won't split hairs. So you doubled your money on him after most people said he didn't do too well. He did really well at Paris Saint-Germain, and then he came back to you for 30 mil. See, that's where I look at it, and I'm like, as someone who worked in banking, my first thought is fraud. It doesn't make sense.
When David Luiz came to Chelsea, when he left for PSG, he was really sought out after by a lot of clubs. So I'm not surprised why he went for so much, because Barcelona wanted him. There was quite a few clubs that were in for him. So I think that's why
Champions League winning centre back.
Yeah.
Listen, man, but you guys know, like Gary Neville's example description of him, he looks like a kid who's playing the PlayStation, the way he rushes out and that. We know that was true, but that isn't my point. Is that if you can do deals in a way where you can hide information, you hide information. You know why you don't need to let people know. Sometimes I wish we didn't even show transfer fees. We just said undisclosed. It would make it, because it's. There's so much pressure that's applied, and I will do it. I'll do it to rivals. I'll put the pressure on, but it is what it is.
Can I just keep it?
I don't agree. Wait, hold on.
Sorry, Monster. One second, Monster. Let's just keep this real on Roman. Yeah, the guy is a Russian billionaire in a country run by Putin. Football finances, are nothing to this man. Easy to bypass, easy to find a way around, and I bet you they're doing it all legal. I bet they're not doing one thing that's illegal. Their mechanisms to be I've got a Russian friend, to be a millionaire in that country is no joke. Like the things you have to navigate.
Yep, I lived in Russia for 6 years, and I agree with you. I echo that. It's like
Roman. That's one of the. Listen, I'll be honest, man. I wish Roman was the Man United owner, because we'd be unstoppable if he was our owner. No doubt about that, because we actually generate money, and with his money, it'd be peak for everybody. But sorry, Terry, go ahead, man. I just wanted to.
No, Monster, I was going to say something. Go on, Monster.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I don't necessarily see the whole, is it Kevin Palmer, whatever his name is, David Ornstein, all these guys. I'm a Chelsea fan, but I don't believe these guys with this price tag they're putting out of 62 million up front. I think that's fake. I genuinely believe Fabrizio, because Fabrizio doesn't have no ties to Chelsea, and he will give an unbiased opinion. These guys have ties to Chelsea, and of course Chelsea be using them to make themselves look good. Do you get what I mean? So I don't believe it.
Yeah, but there's a flip side to that, Monster. That's the agent could be feeding Fabrizio Romano information that makes him look like a great agent because he just did a big deal. Like the transfer market's a dirty business. Everybody has an angle. Everybody's one football club's trying to act like they paid less. One football club's trying to say they paid more.
Yeah,
agents want to brag about
and then fans,
this person and that person,
and then fans will always flip. Fans will literally be on Fabrizio for weeks. He's God, and then they'll see another journalist with a blue tick say the price is cheaper than Fabrizio, and suddenly Fabrizio becomes a liar. I saw Chelsea fans last night say, "Oh, you got this one wrong, Fab. You didn't get this one right, did you?" And it's like, no, he did.
Journalists were beefing as well.
It's mad. It's crazy. Like journalists beefing each other over this stuff. That's how it's become, and that's because football fans, we are fickle, and generally I would say 95% of us, we seek out the information that makes our club and our favourites look the best. And I think that's just pretty normal. We've got another super chat here from Galacticus Pro. It says, Terry, check Christoph, I can't pronounce that name's Twitter, about the payment. Yeah, I was looking at his thing yesterday. The point I'm making about Chelsea's transfer deal for Eden Hazard's being higher, I didn't understand. The tweets don't go, I need to read an article on it because it didn't make sense to me in terms of what do you mean fraud?
It's a deep article. It's a fraud case not related to Chelsea and Real Madrid. It's to do with his first football club. It's not even Lille. It's the football club that is the academy he came from.
Yeah, no, and I get that, and I get that. I just what I'm more intrigued about is why it was reported as 100 million when it was nearly 40 million pound more. I don't understand.
Oh, because they just lied. This is what happens. And with what do you call it? Amor citation. As you already know, Terry, these journalists here, they don't respect football fans, and they don't. It's only now a few journalists really care about giving us a proper education on football finances and how things work. But ultimately, if a football club just says it's 100 mil, and then they're using clever accounting, it's difficult. If you're not an expert in accounting, you can't even dispute that.
Well, yeah, because the money doesn't come in. This is what I keep saying to people. People keep saying United just paid a lump sum to Dortmund. Dortmund are the ones that are being unreasonable. Teams in the peak of the money in football were paying via amortization. They were paying in installments. This was normal. Asking United not to is the abnormal element of this deal. And as you say, if you're getting 150 million or 100 million, but you're getting it over a 5-6 year period, it comes in dribs and drabs. So it is hard to keep track of. And this is why I say to people, I'll put out what I think a player's cost based on a combination of reading the credible websites, the credible journalists, and I'll come to a conclusion myself. I'll have free thought and critical thinking. The point is, if Chelsea can hide how much they've got coming in for a player, it is not unreasonable to suggest they're hiding how much they're paying for a player as well.
Sorry,
is that would you, as Chelsea fans, would you say that's a fair analysis to have?
I think that's fair analysis because we're shrewd business people. We've run the club very well for a number of years. I don't think a few mistakes or signings. But why would you want to tell people you're ingoing to people to even increase the price even more? People know what's on your books. You want to keep everything private. That's what business.
And equally, if the media can lie about these things, this is why when people say, you dropped 80 million on this guy. So did we? Did we actually? I mean, we could have paid 100 million. We could have spent 100 million on Maguire based on this theory, but we could also have spent 60 million. Who knows? None of us actually know the outright truth on these situations because clubs don't talk about it. And I'm telling you now, if any journalist had actual proof of a car, I remember talking to John Smith, one of the world's first ever super agent. You know, he was Maradona's Gazza's agent. He's still very highly involved in football now. His sons are still big agents in the game. One of his sons is Trent Alexander-Arnold's agent, as an example. He said we were chatting on air once, and he said that if a journalist actually had a copy of an agent of a contract, or actually had the breakdown of an agreement for a football club, they wouldn't talk about it. They would publish the picture. He said journalists they would just publish it. He said, so whenever they tell you what someone's being told, it's word of mouth. And there's always an agenda. He said that sometimes they'll feed it in to make it cheaper, so that the buying club looks better. Sometimes the selling club wants it to be more. Sometimes it's fed in because it might be that Maguire has gone to Man United and someone respected at Leicester is annoyed about it. So they feed into a journalist, yeah, you know what? It was 80 million. Might have been 70 million, but we'll throw in a higher amount because it makes a deal look worse. It happened to Zlatan at United. Zlatan was on somewhere in the region of £250,000 a week at Man United. Someone leaked to the media he was on $490 a week. Now, I knew for a fact that wasn't true because I knew who he banked with and knew how much he earned because I knew his bank manager at the time. I'm not going to say how much he was earning, but we knew that was a lie. But someone, for whatever reason, threw that into the mix. And when did that go back and look when that broke? It was when United were going for a really torrid time. Lo and behold, it was a perfect time to release it. And that's why I say to people, don't get hell-bent on the price. Have a bit of a banter and have a bit of a joke. But people get too caught up on this money, you know, and people are, we did a good deal at 27 million. Could have been 50 million, bro. For all we know.
Terry, for all we know. To caveat that, I found it yesterday. One, I don't know what journalist said it, but they were like, they didn't want to pay so much for Havertz as much as Kepa because of the price tag. And they think it made an impact on Kepa's like appearances and like his form. I think that element does have that bit of truth to it because I think if Havertz comes into the club, the highest paid player at 21, even with our signs we made, it puts even more pressure on him. The amount of messages he's been getting, the media coverage, it does make an impact. So even to us, it's not our money, and we want to see our club do well financially. It kind of does impact these players. Like they're still human. Like they do have these things over their heads. I'll swap it out there, innit?
Yeah, no, they do, and that's where fans need to have their backs. And I think Man United supporters in the last couple of years, we don't have we have a couple of players' backs, and the rest of them we like to hang out to dry because we can't handle the heat in the kitchen. You know, we can't handle the fact that, you know, as I say, I've seen Man United fans on this platform praise pragmatism from Arteta, from Diego, from Jose before and after he's been our manager. Same guys will see us do it in a game and kick off that we're negative because they want to be negative. And I think that that's something that fans, and that's where I do give Liverpool fans respect, that they back their football club almost to the hill. There comes a point now where you have to stand up and say something, because I think what's going on right now is what it is. But boys, I appreciate everyone coming on. It's a 20-minute stream. It's turned into an hour and 20 minutes, but there we go. I appreciate everyone who's tuned in live as well. Thank you, boys, for your contribution. Do me a big favor, smash the living daylights out of that like button. Please subscribe. I think yesterday we actually on yesterday yesterday we started the day on 156,000 subscribers. We're nearly on 158,000 subscribers as it stands right now. Massive growth the last few days. We'll be back later on today with more content for you. Back tomorrow, back the day after. We're going to be here. And as of Monday, remember tomorrow night, Aaron hosts his first show. That United show is going to be on, so make sure you're tuning in for that, 9 p.m. tomorrow night. And then from Monday, we're going to start doing some preview shows to preview the season, get expectations in. And trust me, we're creating a time capsule. People are going to be held to account for their opinions now, and we're not going to let them off that hook for the whole entire season unless they come out and formally apologize.
David will sit on the fence and pick every scenario as an outcome.
No.
What?
I won't. Trust me. You could time capsule it and then move, and then at the end of the season, when I'm correct, I'll be the one laughing.
There we go. Listen, everyone who's tuning in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.